Good morning. Welcome to the Saturday Coffee Chat. It is our first one for August, and we're just going to jump into, I have one announcement, and then the coffee chat's going to be about emotional healing, and Deb's going to share some wisdom on that with us. And like in my newsletter, I put that we're not experts in the topics, it's just from experience. That we bring to you. And I think that, that's a huge qualifier when somebody's walked through that and can share, what it was like, what they did, how it, things they did that helped them, what they've learned, I think is very valuable. And if you have any topics that you want more information on, then, let us know, because we're always trying to come up with something that's going to bring you value. Let me share my screen. I just wanted to, and Deb may have some announcements too, but so participants can now see your application. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I can see it.
Yeah. So I'm in Beachbody on demand on my laptop, of course. And I just wanted to show you, if you're a Nutrition Plus subscriber already, you have access to the Body Beta. And so this is what it looks like when you log in, and I didn't see how to do it from the phone. And so, there may be a way, but obviously, which would be good if you're, traveling or whatever, but, it's better to have it a little bigger on your laptop, and I'll be able to get it on the TV downstairs. But anyway, if you click into, Body Beta here, and this will, when it goes live in September for every Nutrition Plus member, or for everybody, this is kind of just if you were a Nutrition Plus member up till like a couple of days ago, you got into this. So now if you want to get access to it in September, then you'll just do the Nutrition Plus. That gives you access to this as well. And then so the beta will be gone because it'll just be Body. So this comes up, and this is the first screen, and it's like I've signed in to do these classes. The full schedule is here, so you can click on it and look at what classes they have coming up. And during this beta testing, they're only doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 classes. This is Alaska time, 9 a.m., 1 p.m., 3 p.m. And then you could sign up for it. If you're in early, you could be one of the podcasts. That's one of the spots that's actually live and the trainer sees you. But you have to get in early for that. There's only 75 spots. So, and you could put it to your Google, you can copy the link and share it to your friend. Hey, join me in this one, which is really, and I'm not going to do that one, but put you out of the way. So, and then when the classes are done, they end up, is it here? Nope. Go back. They are recorded, and then they end up in here, so you can play them. So this was the one I jumped into yesterday. And if you saw, well, I didn't post it. I posted them on my stories, but it's pretty cool that there was like 5,000 people at this time.
Hello,
working
I'm Carl
out.
Deichler, CEO of Beachbody, and welcome to Bod Interactive. Now, this is a beautiful thing. Welcome to the Bod Interactive beta test. That means you are a part of a very exclusive community that has the opportunity, first of all, to be able to see these hot stages. And give, first of all,
the stages are really cool, but then you go in.
Breaks in there. After the 60 seconds, you'll get a 60-second break. I'll show you the next 2 moves, and we'll do it all again.
Cool.
I've got your modifications for you. Don't worry, I'm going to walk you through it every step of the way. First things first, give me my podcast. Yes, you guys, first ever live.
So these people are the people who signed up first, and they're actually in their home working out live. But then down here, it tells you how many people are working out, and the energy is just so high. And it just kind of, you feel that energy, and I can't wait to try one next week. I signed up for Body Flow, and to keep it low intensity while I'm doing the reset. But yeah, so I just wanted to show you what that was like. And again, we'll bring more information as it becomes available to everybody in September.
So if you're looking, I have a question. So if you're looking on your, like from your TV, there's obviously no way to be interactive on that. It has to be kind of from your computer that has a camera, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And do you have a choice of declining whether they're watching you or not? Like, do you know?
Yeah, it'll tell you if there's a podcast spot available, you can select to be in the podcast or not. So yeah. And yeah. Yep. And that's the thing, is like, if I was in the podcast, I want to do on my TV, I could have my computer down there, as my camera, and still have it up on the big screen. Karen, you had a question?
Well, I was just going to say, I got it on my phone and I just had to update the app.
Okay.
And then it's at the bottom. But I wondered too, like I wasn't paying for Nutrition Plus. So I don't know because I know there's like a free month or whatever, right?
Mhm.
Isn't there?
Yeah.
So I don't know if when I got 645, I automatically got it.
Yep.
Because all of a sudden I got this email but then my date for paying for it was like sometime here in August. So I thought, anyways, I deleted it. I didn't want it, but I still have access to that body.
Yeah, because you have the 30 days free, so they'll
That's why.
yeah. So check it out.
Yeah, I was surprised anyways when I saw it on there.
Yeah, that's cool. Awesome.
Yeah, I was going to say the same with Karen, because it's right in the middle where you have used to have groups.
Oh, I gotta update then.
And
then
oh, sorry. I was just going to say it changed where your personal stuff is, which I thought, God, I'm never going to remember where this is, because at the top, it's like your initials and it's a little tiny button on the left.
yeah.
So sometime soon I'll forget where to find that stuff, I'm sure.
And when you press on programs, they, sometimes they have a little highlight real time. Well, right next to it, it says one of the programs will say body. So they kind of label which ones are in body. So yeah, I haven't tried it, but you do have to update the app.
Okay.
Yeah, the app has a little icon on the bottom that's just body.
Okay.
Body. It's like one of the icons now on the bottom that used to be, well, no, tracking is still there. They must have just squeezed it in. I don't know what they took out.
They moved there used to be those 3 dots on the right hand for your personal things. Yeah. More. That's what's up now at the top left.
Where it has your initials. Yeah.
The very, very top.
Oh, thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, I never would have found. That's what you were just talking about.
Yeah. That's what I forget about in about a week or 2 weeks.
I never would have found that.
No.
Hey, we're learning together. So I'm re-downloading mine. I suppose I could have just updated. All right, so we'll go ahead and turn it over to Deb and take it away.
All right. Presentation. I made a presentation.
We love presentations.
I keep up with you, Louise. No, I like it. Kind of got my brain put together there.
Yeah.
So if some of you may not have known, this all kind of got manifested when Ken got in a bicycle wreck here in Sholo, Arizona. And it was no fault of his own, other than a guy ran into the whole peloton in his truck, and there was a fatality. But afterwards, it really, you know, how it inwardly affects you or him, me, we. And I had a similar experience with my motorcycle wreck with the van. I got hit by a van on my motorcycle. So when he got hit, I got hit. That's enough, you know, by a truck. But it presented itself. What is emotional healing? And actually, Louise is the one that came up with the emotional healing concept, because I was rattling about it, but I wasn't sure what it was. So it prompted me to look it up, you know, and that's what's cool. Inquiring minds, you know, you need to look things up. So it's the emotional healing, and I can relate to this and to a lot of multitude of things in my past. But it's the ability to control your painful thoughts and feelings and emotions so they don't interfere with your present moment. Um, I can honestly say in the past, I could be manifested something every day of my life. And it was something that occurred to me when I was like 15 years old, and I created it such that it was as if it was yesterday. And that's not good, because I wasn't healing, I wasn't maturing, I could go on, but I was paralyzed in that moment of time of that trauma event or whatever that hurt me at that time. It just paralyzed me and I was stuck. And I didn't realize or know withal what to do. So, you know, I'm here today, and somehow, or the God above me had actually guided me and the angels to where I am today. So I honestly believe that. So with healing, there's pain. And so what is the emotional pain? And that's the suffering aspect of that moment of time. It's a non-physical thing. I mean, yes, Ken got hit and got physically injured, but it's the inside that needs to be healed. And so that's where you get to this. Some people, you don't feel anxious or anger and mood swings, confusion and memory loss. I mean, it just manifests its inner being, your inner soul, that you're just stuck. And I actually experienced someone during 4th of July. It was a picnic in our community, and I went into the restroom, and this gal was literally sitting just like here, crying uncontrollably in the bathroom. So I walked by, and it was miserably hot outside, you know, but it was, so I went to the bathroom and washed my hands, and I gently asked her, can I help you? You know, and she was just so uncontrollable, but she was paralyzed at that moment. And I leaned down and sat down and talked to her, and she finally looked up at me, and I just stroked just touching her, putting her face, her hair out over her eyes and stuff. And she was just in a terrible mental state. And it turned out that something had triggered something that happened in her past. She has PSTD of touch, and somebody had inappropriately touched her. And so me jokingly say, well, let me at him. I'll give him a good 102, you know, and then gave her some water, and then got her calmed down and just got her out of it. And she thanked me. I didn't ask for names or nothing, just let it be. But you can witness it in other people and reach out and help them, you know. So anyways, you can see it too. And sometimes you need to listen to your best friend to help you identify that too. So anyways, so pain, then there's healing. Well, the emotional healing is a process. And this is where you got to accept all your painful life experiences and the negative emotion react it generated from it. And it's not like again, a physical hurt, but it's all in the mental. And sometimes people numb out and not try to be, they numb out and not allow the process to work in your system. And then they're walking in this sleepwalking, not feeling type of person. And I definitely don't want to be like that. And nor would I want to live in a household like that. So anyways, that's where emotional healing has a process. And the process is, I hear Ken, he's a bicycle. It gets this low humming noise. But the process has 5 emotional healing stages or processes has full circle in my mind. And you got to initially you're suffering, and then the awareness, confrontation, expression, and acceptance. So the suffering, whether it is physical, but you're just suffering, like I said, that gal was just suffering in this downward spiral. And then the awareness, when I was approaching her, she was aware that something triggered. She was actually sharing that with me. And then the confrontation, her confrontation was walking away and, self-absorbed in her misery. And yet I was out there wanting to battle for her, and the expression, she was just unconsolable, crying. She was letting it go. But then the acceptance is she's here, she's present. I was bringing her back to the present moment. And hopefully I was helpful to, let her go and continue on and not be isolated where she was. So it's a 5 process. So again, when it doesn't do that. So the suffering, like I said, it's a natural way of emotions. And so that you could put yourself in a spiral, so you're feeling the pain. So when Ken got hit, I'm going to use Ken in this whole incident because it was kind of fresh. So with the bicycle thing, he was in physical pain and he was getting the help he can do. And for me, it was emotions of suffering inside because I was totally helpless to help him. And so we're both, he was in true disbelief of what just happened and actually witnessed what happened. And I was in disbelief of what happened, but he is walking here today, and me was like, oh my God, and grateful and helpless and all in the same time. But if I was suffering day to day, I didn't allow that to happen. And some people suffer day to day. And again, it goes into the paralyzing. So they could allow themselves to suffer day to day to day to day. And that's where addictiveness can come into hand. And it could be anything, emotional eating or drinking or smoking, So anyways, the emotion is be present of that moment every day. And that, again, I kind of went in through this already, but the suffering and awareness. And sometimes you need that little trigger to figure out what it is you're feeling, because sometimes people mask it really well. Going through the process of the bike incident, a core group wanted to get a therapist on board to do some Zoom calls, and somebody said, well, don't you want to ask Ken, don't you want to deal with a therapist to work on this and stuff? And he goes, no, I'm pretty adept to this. And what his adeptness came from is being a first responder for firefighting and medical up at the slope. And we both have done this. I volunteered at the Valdez Fire Department and as an emergency trauma technician. And so we were always the first on scene, and it's horrific of what you see. And then the auxiliary people around you and how to deal with it. And then when you go through it mechanically, you're trying to help people. But when you go through it, they always had a debriefing moment afterwards. And that's any incident command system. You always have a debrief, but you need to be aware of how you feel. And if you're not tapping into your feelings, then you're in a zombie world. And awareness is really a pivotal time and some pivotal moment. And even when we're doing our ultimate reset, we have a little trigger, what we ate. How do you feel? You know, sometimes you're kind of overlooking some of these feelings, and you need to have a little trigger to bring you back to the present and figure out what it is you're feeling. And then the other thing is the confrontation. And this is where the pain, you get mad, you know, and then the anger comes out, and whether it's towards someone or something. And then that's where we were at with this driver in this truck. And it was like, how could you, you know? And I've had people responses, I'm glad that guy got shot, you know, and it was like, but something was wrong with him, you know. I don't know what it was or what it is, but something prompted him to hit all this Peloton. But we dealt with the anger where Ken was feeling helpless, trying to get the trailer and figure out what we're going to do. And I felt anger for this guy running into my husband. And so confronting it, you know, so we drove by where it occurred, and the telephone pole, the electrical pole was still down. And then we both looked at each other, and it was like, it's just disbelief. But that anger can manifest at that moment, but anger could manifest later down the road. But that emotional healing, you need to get through that anger or confront it. If you don't confront it, it just self-absorbs your system again, and you create this anxiety and everything else in there. But when you confront it, you're not running away from the problem. So we had a little bitch session, Ken and I did. It was like that. We were doing the trucker mouth. Yeah, and it was just between us, but it was just, you know, that was a way of confronting, and we're not running away from it. And when you run away from something, it's just not good. And that's, again, it rolls into expression. So these stages just rolls right into another. So you got to honor the pain to heal. You need to express your emotions. And that's why I say you just scream, cry, or sometimes I just shut down and go to sleep. I literally shut down. Something's just too overwhelming for me. I just go to bed. And then that's where Ken comes in and was like, what's wrong? And it was like, and they all bawl or whatever, you know, but it just few and far between. I used to do it quite often earlier in my career in the corporate world, but something I allowed something to really bother me. But the biggest thing is to express it. And we were so overwhelmed by everybody reaching out to us, especially in social media. And my sister and brother-in-law sent us a big package of seafood. We didn't know. And we were dealing with all this other stuff when we got home from the accident. And we were just kind of coping every day. And then when we brought it in and we opened up the box, we both kind of stood there, and I read the note, and we both cried. Just, wow, you know, and it's just another stage of the emotional pain, the expression. And we both literally were crying, going, we are just so blessed, you know. And so, yeah, it's a let it come out. And of course, sometimes you need to be a little discreet, depending on the situation. I remember I was so angry in a meeting once, I had to go in the bathroom and just scream, you know, because it just, I was so angry at that moment, and I was trying to be very controlled about it. But so the last phase is the acceptance. And so when you go through that, then and accept it, that emotion has got it's cleansed out of your being, and you just start manifesting abundance in your life, abundance for August. But once you're clear of all of that, it's like taking out the dirty laundry and just get it out of your system, and then start manifesting the abundance in your life. And that's really important, because we in our group, we look forward to that, I hope. You know, and the abundance is taking self-care, and that self-care can be different for anyone. Some people meditate, and that's, you know, letting it go, making your, and getting the gratitude journal. The other abundance is, maybe it's like my husband working out. He's not going to let that stop him. It's not going to stop his desired goal. His abundance is getting back on the saddle and getting out there. Like me, I did that motorcycle ride, and I went back to where it had happened, got my motorcycle all fixed. Now drove down and I got the heebie-jeebies. And then I said, you know what? I'm very grateful of what I've done. And I made a decision right there. It's like, I don't think I want to ride on my own anymore. I'll ride 2 up, no big deal. That doesn't bother me. But myself and that other incident, yeah, I'm allowing that person put a little bit more fear in me. But then I'm also taking care of myself, saying I can't be timid on the motorcycle that I'm driving every day. So that's that acceptance. And I'm okay with that. It's not what if, should have, could have. I'm okay with that. So you manifest all the goodness in your life, and you cloud over the bad negative energy. And that's what's most important about emotional healing. And we move past of that emotion, but we're also, I'm speaking for Ken, but he also said it too, is like we're constantly grateful of what's going on. He still can't close his hand all the way, but we're getting there. And we're always getting, like, we're getting people from Soldotna come and visit us. So we always have all these people taking the extra effort to visit us. And we so welcome that, because they're part of our journey too. And I think we all are. And so ultimately, it's part of our lives. It's just a matter of how we cope with it and move on and adjust. It's not because we say, oh, just get over it. I hate it when people say that. People are all different, and what we need to do is be patient. Be patient for the others that are not getting through it as fast, or if you can help them, if you have enough energy to help that person. Sometimes in the past, I could hardly get myself together. How could I possibly help somebody else when I haven't got it together myself? But sometimes you just need to, maybe that person's going through the same thing and you need to partner up and get through it. And that's where you have a lot of support groups that really are helpful at that moment in time. We have the people that were affected. There were 9 people altogether affected in that wreck. And one of them I really don't know, but actually we didn't know any of the other ones. His friends that he had ridden with were okay, but we became to know them through this process. And now we're befriended some other people that have gone through it, and you become that camaraderie of people to help each other. So mostly be patient and see it through. And that's all I have.
That was awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us.
Yeah.
There were a couple of things that I wrote down, like master, the most important thing you can do in life for your mental well-being, your emotional health, is mastering your emotions.
Mhm.
And that can be so hard because we can't will ourselves to not feel these things. Our body will come up. Like you said, something will trigger it. A song, a smell, a
Mhm.
person, I don't know, just like anything can. And it, like you were talking about, that memory recall is so powerful.
Mhm.
And in that moment, it's, if you've dealt with it, then when it's recalled again, then you'll have, it won't cause as much pain. Or, I mean, like, you can honor the pain, honor
Yeah.
the emotion. I love that. We talk a lot about acceptance in recovery, and because it's when you're not accepting, it's when you can't accept it means you're finding something unacceptable. And in our book, we talk about, when I'm disturbed, is because I find some person, place, or thing, or situation, some fact of my life unacceptable to me. And I can find no serenity until I accept that person, place, thing, or situation as being exactly the way it's supposed to be at this moment. Nothing, absolutely nothing happens in God's world by mistake. And then I need to concentrate not so much on what needs to be changed in the world as on what needs to be changed in me and in my attitudes. So that's that control the controllable.
Mhm.
There's a lot of outside influences that we can't control, we can't change. We can be mad at, resentful, sore, but that's not going to, trying to change that is not going to help us. So, I mean, you want to definitely contribute to the world and make an impact on the world in a positive way to make change in the world. But it has to start, like you just said at the end, you can't help someone if you haven't helped yourself. So, and then lastly, just that this is a healthy way to cope. And that I don't think people realize that a lot, how much that it affects their life on the daily, if they don't have good, healthy coping mechanisms. And just being in that, avoiding the feeling, avoiding the pain, like just trying to not see it, or it's going to come up again. That's how our body is like that, And so I love the suggestions of talking, and talk therapy, I think, is so good.
Yeah.
I know I will hold things in, and it's going to bust out sideways, or, like I'm going to go off on somebody. So talking is really good. And journaling, just letting the emotions flow on your paper. Like, if you don't want to talk to somebody, at least get them out of your head. Right. So I love it. It's great. Good stuff. Thank you so much for sharing your experience.
Yeah, thank you for allowing me. It was a good topic.
Mhm.
Present. I think the biggest thing is being present. I think a long time, just starting this whole Team Beachbody, I think a lot of times I just wasn't present, and that awareness that something was broke. And so that's where it's like, I it, you just don't know. I think just not knowing how to deal with it,
Right.
so. And that's
Yeah.
where a lot of friends were really, really good at just listening, or just giving you thoughtful thoughts, and
Mhm.
yeah. Because reclusiveness could be the other, what do you call it, coping mechanism, but that's not a healthy one.
Right.
You may need it. Some people may need it. And, but if you have, like, I haven't heard something from my sister for a few days, my other sister. And so I got to tap in and check in.
Mhm. Yeah.
But that's another symptom.
Oh yeah. When I was going through some of my hard times, I had this landlord and I told her, if my car has not moved from the driveway at least once in a day, you need to come and check on me because it's probably not good. Yeah. So does anyone else have any thoughts to share?
It was so good, Deb. Just thank you for putting that all together. Because I could resonate with what you were sharing with everybody. Everybody goes through this at some point for some reason. And sometimes you go through it again for another point, for another reason. And it's just kind of, yeah, it's really, really important information. And thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, just having the awareness that this is, this is part of life. Was it life's lessons to cope and adjust as one of your slides? And I thought this was also good, appropriate, especially for those going through the reset, but also any change that you make in your life could trigger an emotional release. And, it's just your body's way of letting go of something. And so honor that and lean into it and do some of the suggestions, reach out to somebody, journal, take a nap. I know it was 2 days ago. For some reason, the thought of my cat that I had put down earlier this year came up, and I was just like, told my son, you know what? I really miss Callie. It's like, for some reason, it just really hit me. And I think it's because I'm doing this reset. I don't know. Yeah.
I think like anything, it takes practice. That initial healing process is so painful. And then when it could be like 10 years down the road, the same circumstances come up, but it's not so painful. It's like, oh yeah, I remember going through this before, and then recognizing that how I did it before, it's a lessons learned. And it's like, well, I'm going to deal with it this way this time because that one was horrible, and so, yeah, there's a lot of lessons learned every time you go through the process because there is always something to learn from it.
That 5 stages of emotional healing, you really could apply that to everything. Like it might not be suffering in the sense of an emotional pain. I mean, it could be, but it could be around anything that is just kind of, we're a feeling entity, and our feelings drive our thoughts and our feelings are connected, and then that's what guides our action. So it's important to, and then that suffering, and then the awareness, the confrontation, the expression, the acceptance, you could use those for everything.
That confrontation, I thought first when I saw that picture, I was like, it's not really yelling at somebody, but maybe it is. But it could be confronting your fears. That's a confrontation. And it's like, oh, that makes sense, So yeah.
Well, because the opposite of confrontation is avoiding, right? So if you're not confronting it, you're running from it, you're numbing it, you're avoiding it. Yeah.
So yeah.
Good stuff. Thank you so much.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Deep, running deep.
Yeah. And the next coffee chat is going to be hormones. What was it? Oh, the feel-good hormones. Really, it's going to be, the ones that like the serotonin and the adrenaline, and I'm going to talk about those and how they play a part in life, good and bad. So we'll dive into that next Saturday.
Yeah.
A quick boomerang, and we'll be off and enjoying the rest of our day.
Hey, a quick question. Hey, Jewel, I remember you had was listening the audio book on Green Light by McConaughey. How did you like it?
It's interesting to listen to his story and his life and how he grew up as a kid. and he's got some great tips in there on how to look at the world and how he looks at the world. And I
Oh.
thought, oh, okay, this is interesting. I had never considered that perspective. I don't agree with everything he had to say in there, but that's not unusual. I mean, we all don't agree with what everybody says all the time,
Yeah.
but he makes it kind of fun to
Yeah.
read. So
Okay.
yeah, you'll hit some areas where you go, well, that's a little out there, but you know, he
Mm,
does have some depth to him too. So I enjoyed
yeah.
it. Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We were looking at other books to read in the future. So I was like, oh, I remember Jewel was listening to that one, or yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Well, I
Thanks.
remember I told you his parents had been married like 3 times, twice to each other. It's like, what? and some of what he describes growing up, I'm thinking, that sounds abusive to me, but he doesn't look at it that way at all.
Mm.
So, you know, you just get a different perspective. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
Interesting. Okay.
yeah. Mhm.
Awesome. And if you have any, if anyone has any book suggestions, definitely throw them at us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mhm. All right. Let's everybody say good morning.
Morning.
Awesome. All right, ladies, enjoy your day. Thank you for getting on the call with us this morning.
Yeah.
Thank
Have a
you.
good weekend.
Mhm.
Bye.
Bye-bye.